We've got the wave side and the skinny side.
You know what this looks like? This looks like the naughty corner. The peanut gallery. Okay, super. So good morning, welcome. Well done for getting out here. That's quite a spectacular show today. So crowd control, please don't jump on the tables. I know there's no space. I think actually it's quite indicative of the time that we're in. Have a look around the room. There's 8 people of our own members who haven't even, they haven't apologized, they're just not here. Probably they're going to arrive in 15 minutes because of the traffic. And then there's like 26 people who said, I'm keen, I'm coming, see you, this is it, my life's going to change forever, and they are in the ether. Still recharging their batteries from the big party last night, I guess. I'm not sure. So yeah. So first things first, warm regards to Tony. He decided to do the epic thing and get married this weekend. So for some reason, I don't know, it's some place called Bali, sand, sun, wind, trees. I know. So when Vanessa and Tony watch this video, we'll just commiserate with them. We say, we're so sorry that you've had to go there. We hope that you survive. Please remember us. Do come back. And yeah, so that's exciting times. I was hoping that there'd be a real crowd and I can get my phone and we can do a selfie photo and say, happy honeymoon, and send them a message. Maybe we'll do...
think that people didn't come because he wouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah, so it's like, hey, Tony, you weren't here and no one else pitched.
Make you feel bad.
No, it's not that bad. I really do think, I've chatted with some of you this morning and I've been engaging with a number of people this week. It's tough out there, and it's the year-end time. Who will agree with me? Have you heard, I'm sure you've told somebody within the last 48 hours, like, man, things are going so fast. Okay? I was just touching base. My boy burnt his hand yesterday on the stove. So it's like, wow, that was a bit of a shocker, a bit of a wake up there. And it's like, you know, an entire month was reduced or compressed into a moment. You know what I'm saying? It's like something happened and it's been chaos. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening, but in that moment, nothing else mattered. And there's this idea of compressed time, and I really want to chat through compressed time. By the way, the 5 speakers that I invited to speak with us this month have all pulled out consecutively, so you're stuck with me. But I decided to give myself a break because I think I've done this before, and I've done group coaching and training for 13 years, so hopefully I can inspire, encourage, and share some pearls of wisdom with you guys. Is that okay? Say yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Good. You guys are good learners. Say yes. I'm not pulling out. Right? You know what? Hey, I'm the speaker. This reminds me of my sister, my mom and my sisters are teachers, and this reminds me of the school inspector, the quiet dude. And you guys are having fun, but the notes are coming later. An F for funny. Sure, okay, tough crowd. So back to Michael, like sincere moment. So Michael and the irony is, my boy is just being cautious. I think he gets it from me. So he's just checking that the stove is off so his sister and brothers don't get burnt. And in doing that, gets just a little too close and singes that piece there. But here's the thing. How fascinating is it that in a moment, literally, everything is compressed into a slot of time and a window of focus. A slot of time, like a coin of time, And that, as big as that coin is, I put my coin down, as big as a coin is, that amount of focus. And in a moment, instantly, everything else like evaporates. It's still there. The puppy dog is still there, and soccer practice is still there, and the wants to take the sister out syndrome is still there, and ignoring the parents, that's still there. But in a moment, everything is hyper compressed into this teardrop, no pun intended, concentration of time and focus. Make sense to you? And in that, which was a bit of a scare, but in that, I was led to think, you know what, this is actually how we can leverage, we can take control of or master a moment in this season of time. So I don't know if you noticed, but today's the 18th. That means we've got 60 days to make this year count if you're looking at your business calendar. 60 days. Now, I hope your year has been as, if not just colorful, but adventurous as mine has been this year so far. So it's been a good year. It's been hectic. Robin Banks will say hectic is a tick that's sitting on a gate and waiting. It's been absolutely crazy. But it's not over yet. And here's my concern. Here's my thought coming in. So I've got some ideas I'd like to share with you today, because I do believe, and I mean it sincerely, so if I just swing over this side, I'm not ignoring you guys, okay? It's just you've got this loud crowd on this side, so I think I'm going to speak to Irene, then I'm like balanced from her. So I really do. This is my sincere heart and my goal for you guys, for me and for us and those who watch the video, that this year can still end epically well. This year, 2017, can still be your best year ever. Most people I'm talking to right now don't feel that way. Most people I'm talking to right now, or people that are engaging with me, and it's fascinating how many requests for support, for coaching, for insight, for consulting, no invoices, no quotes, just like, oh, please help me, please help me. We've kind of run out of cash, or run out of, it's not really run out of cash, the cash is just invested somewhere else. We've run out of budget or intent to put our resources to play. So we're at the end of our tether. We're at the end of our rope, most of us. Well, not you guys. You guys are here, so you guys are awesome. You're like the super achievers already. You're the 1%. There's 99% of the world out there who woke up this morning and were surprised. I woke up, that's cool. Now what? But is the 1%, you're already with intent. I'm not saying it was easy for any of us this morning. We still got to get through our stuff, and we've still got to make choices. And every single one of us has put something aside for this morning to be here today. I get that. We could be somewhere else, and probably as you sit right now, your mind is telling you, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. And depending how complex or complicated, hopefully complex, not complicated, your system is, your task system or your planning system or your organizing system, that thing is, if it's on your phone like mine, I put my phone down, otherwise my phone gets hot. You know, it like burns. You can feel it in the seat of learning. It's like, oh, I've got to go. Don't answer that email. Don't answer that email. Like the best friend. Who can remember life before these things? Like, think about it. My kids, my daughters. Brilliant. I was about to go to the Nokia, but that's epic. I haven't seen that in ages. That's Starling. That was pre-Starless. So it's my daughter's birthday next month as mine. And it's like this big deal. She's got this phone, but it's not a smartphone. It's got a screen, but it's got keys, so it's cool, and it can WhatsApp, thank you, Dad, but it's not a smartphone. And like huge, huge pressure to empower my daughter into the modern age and buy her a cell phone, preferably an iPhone. I'm like, good luck. here's my point. There was a day when I ran business without this. There was a day when I had a keypad phone, and the deal was charge it every night because it only lasts till lunchtime, then you must charge it again. Remember those days? Yeah, no comment. But so much has changed, and again this word comes to play. Everything is being compressed. So what was an entire system is now just the touch of my thumb on a picture, and an app opens up, and I've compressed everything into one little space on a device. And with that compressed space, that moment, time is also compressed. And this is where I want to step into today, is to say, you know what? I'll speak for myself. I feel the compression of the stuff that needs to get done, and I feel the compression of the time I feel that I have to get that stuff done in. The first thought is this: what is real to you? What is real to you? And here's what I mean. There was a day when if you said, I was watching a Tony Robbins video, and he puts it so well. He says, there was a day if you said that we're going to give you a box, and you're going to carry that box in your pocket, and your life will be run by what's in that box. You're going to take that box out, and you're going to take your hand and touch the box, and in that little waves will connect with something somewhere else, and somewhere else you will be able to connect with someone else, and you'll be able to talk through the box to someone on the other side of the planet. 100 years ago, you would have said you are a lunatic.
I was going to say absolutely.
Just say that loudly so we can edit it out of the video. 100 years ago, and this is, I forgot, I knew this, and it was cool to be reminded. Do you know where the word lunatic comes from? Who can remember? Who knows why we call it somebody who speaks so confidently and clearly about something so far ahead of us that it doesn't make sense? Why do we call them a lunatic? Because just over, sorry? Because just over 100 years ago, we would say, one day we will go to the moon. And I mean, hello, it's absolutely impossible. The idea that man would be on the moon, it's like you're ticked. There's something wrong with your thinking. And that's where the phrase, you are a lunatic, comes from. Now, not 100 years ago, 10 years ago, if you told me that I could run my entire business practice off this device, I could compress the complexity of my whole world, my social world, my professional world, and my business world into a 7 millimeter thick piece of technology. 10 years ago, I would have said you are a lunatic. It's impossible. And to think that on this device, I don't know about the iPhone, on this device, there's more technology on this device, and I don't use all of it. I switch 70% of it off. There's more technology on this device than what put the first 3 space stations in orbit. This device.
No, there's more information on there than what put the first man on the moon. I think even more.
Absolutely. Access.
In your washing machine.
I mean, all of those computers that they have at NASA is more information on that phone than they had in 1960.
Never mind the access I have, the access to information. That's another thing. That's leverage. So we can compress leverage.
Actually got them to the moon with that technology.
So did you hear what Irene just said? It's actually shocking how they actually got to the moon with that technology. And here you find yourself sitting here this morning and politely, courageously putting on a brave face and showing us that you're not actually panicking, that everything's in control. That, you know what, I'm totally in control, whilst perhaps if you're vulnerable enough or confident enough, or you actually in a moment trust me enough, you'd be able to admit, only in private when no one can see, that actually, sometimes I'm in a high level of compressed panic. When actually, only when I'm awake. Actually, it's amazing. I have at the fingertip more technology, more tools, tactics and tools and technology that I can leverage than what put guys on the moon. But we lose sight of this. Why do we lose sight of this? Because in a moment, we get everything compresses. In that moment, our focus, what we look at, and our feeling, what we experience, because of the compression, becomes more real than anything else. So, we've got 60 days, and I think this message will resonate whenever you hear it on the video. But let's say for the rest of this year, can we engage a new level of activity? Can you find a way to engage with each moment so that you can make these last 60 days be more valuable and meaningful than the last, almost wanted to say 600, but possibly 600. Because it's possible. Now there's a few keys that will help that come to play. How could you make the next 60 days, so we've got 2 months to make it count, what is it that you need to do? What is it that you need to shift? How do you need to think differently? Well, let me rephrase it. Is there anybody who would like to shift? Is there anyone who would like to think differently? Is there anyone here who would like the next 60 days to actually be more meaningful than the last 600? Awesome. So I'm going to talk to this side of the room, and you guys.
Gary's going to give it to you just now.
I know. The speaker evaluation form.
Why did they come and sit this side then? Why do you guys?
Because they're comfortable and the camera's in the middle, and
Come on, Gary.
it's okay. We're not. Okay, here's the first thing. So when I teach and train, I use a model called Think, Feel, Act. You might know that. So I believe that how you think about what you feel determines the actions that you'll take. How you think about how you feel about what you're thinking determines the actions that you will take. And here's my first thing. In the next 60 days, whether you take action or not is less about what you're thinking and more about how you're feeling. It has less to do with what you're thinking and more about how you're feeling. And this is important for 2 reasons. The second reason it's important is because if you understand how valuable feeling is, you can learn to unlock any level of thinking that you require. So for you to take the next 60 days and every action to play at another, we call it peak performance. If you need to play at your peak, not peak and then drop, but to get consistently at the next 60 days be the best days of this year, it means in every moment, in every task, you need to find a way to engage at peak level. Who would like to know how to do that? Awesome. So, for a moment, can you think back, have you had any really exciting moments this year? Maybe any days where you feel, wow, I felt awesome. Let your mind, as I speak, just wander back to something that comes to your mind. There was perhaps something you were doing, somewhere you went. That's great grammar, Robin. There was perhaps you were with someone, and there's a memory of a moment when you felt just awesome. Perhaps you had done something, you had completed something, you were proficient in something or some activity. Perhaps it was personal, perhaps it is in a professional space, or perhaps it was something about your business, so personal, professional, business mastery. But there's a moment, there's a memory where you see a picture in your mind, and you can see it right now as I speak, and it was like, wow, I felt that was awesome. Are you there? Have you got that picture in your mind? So just, if you have to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that, but spend a moment there and just let that feeling bubble up. Just let it rise up. and embrace, engage with that feeling, and let it become a strong feeling. And then do this with me. Just breathe in and breathe out. And allow the way your body felt on that day, allow that to be reminded in your body right now. Breathe in that sense of joy, that sense of excitement, that sense of confidence, that sense of achievement. If you need to, think of the face of the person you were with, or think of the environment you were in. And just again, one more time, breathe it in and just remind yourself, let your body, your physical body, be reminded of how it felt in that moment. Are you there? Are you there? Yes? Okay. Right, so how does that make you feel right now? Anybody? Excited, thank you. Good, good. You guys? Positive? Okay. This is like totally stagnant on this side. Positive. Okay.
You're smiling.
Okay, quick question. How difficult was it for you to engage with that feeling? So some of us, emotional quotient perspective, some of it's more difficult than others. Some of us are less practiced in this, so it's difficult for us to go to an emotional space. Some of us, we kind of wear our emotions and put shirts on as well. We're different kinds of people, I get that. But was it difficult? Was it impossible for you to engage with, to almost smell and taste and feel that feeling again? Was it impossible? Quick second question. Did I make you do it? Did I force you? Did I make you feel or engage with that feeling again? Yes or no? Did I? Okay. Who did? I did. I did it for me. You did it for you. Is that okay? So am I correct in saying that in a moment you were able to choose to engage with a physical feeling based on what you were remembering, what you were thinking about? Yes? So there's three aspects: think, feel, act. Did the thinking happen? Did the cognitive stuff take place a moment ago? Yes? So you engaged, you started with a thought, and then what happened next? You had an emotional experience. Yes? Some of us know, yes? Okay, so you had an emotional experience. I then asked you to go from that emotional, that feeling, into your act, your body, your physical experience. And I asked you to remember, allow your body to be reminded of how it felt. I could have also gone into the senses. I could have said to you, remember what it tasted like. Can you remember? Let me put it this way. Who has walked into a room and you taste a flavor in that room and instantaneously you are transported into another time, in another place, and you're reminded of something or somewhere? Have you been there? Has that happened before? Like perhaps it's a curry. There's a particular curry. It's happened to me before where I walk into a restaurant, walk into a room, and within steps, I don't know if you can identify with this. It's step, the next thing I'm in Tanzania. I'm in a restaurant in the northern beaches of Tanzania. Instantaneously, I am there. That flavor was so strong, it was attached to a memory, and I'm transported to that experience, and I can live that experience again. Step, I'm back into this reality. Has that happened to you before? Yeah. Can you see the connect between think, feel, and act? Okay? So let me come back to the box, because this is interesting. I've heard this a couple of times, and I was reminded this week. I was like, wow, this box is quite complex, but it's actually very simple. Inside this box is complexity, but the simplicity is that it connects with something else, somewhere else, which connects with something else, and then connects with another box like this. And it works. Do you know how it works? Do you know how, some of you IT guys actually might know how it works, and that's scary. Out comes the paper and the diagram. But for the 11 out of 10 of us, the rest of us, it works. It just works. And here's the thing. There are waves. There are energy particles that are connecting with this thing. Don't ask me how. But because I push that, and something happens, and energy is transferred, and something else happens on a similar device, probably an iPhone, somewhere else in the world. And we don't question it. We go, cool. So I want you to take that picture, and I want you to just walk with me. If I can understand that I am energy, yes, I have a body, I have an earth suit, and I have a soul, my sacred self or my true self, but around me and with me is energy. And when I'm speaking to you, what you are hearing is a complex form of the energy of the wind from my mouth and this organ, this musical instrument engaging light and air and hitting the hair follicles on your eardrum, and that amazing gift of a body that's been created has a receptacle, and it's translating those vibrations into experiences which are physical and then chemical, and then you actually understand what I'm saying, I hope. Isn't that amazing? But between me standing here and speaking now and you sitting there receiving, there is, I don't know how it works. It's like this box. Do you know how it works? I actually don't know how it works, but it works. And here's what I want you to see. There is, in a moment, in that moment, things can be compressed. Things that we think, things that we feel, and things that we are doing are compressed in a moment. And into the next moment, you can't really see it, and it's difficult to explain it, but it works, yes? And that connect is not a thread, it's not a wire or a cotton or a thread, but it is connected, and it's connected energetically. So there is energy at play in this universe. Can you receive that? In the same way that I helped you, I just asked a couple of questions, and a moment ago I helped you go from this moment in time to another moment. Perhaps in another time. It could have been this year. It could have actually been another year, another place, another city, another town. Miskin, even another language. I didn't see your thought. But you were connected, yes? You were connected enough that it felt real to you, yes? It was real enough that your physical body could go, wow, I feel good again. Okay? Are you with me? Now here's the magic. Where do you think that activation took place? Was it in the thinking, the feeling, or the doing? So I've got some feelings. It could have started with the thinking. My question is, where was it activated? Feeling. Now, we started with a question, a thought, until I asked you to drop down and allow your body to be reminded. And I engaged your physical body. Yes? And as soon as your physical body was engaged, would you agree with me that your sense of emotion, your sense of feeling heightened? So, for example, let me ask you to do this. As you're sitting right now, I'd like you to think of something not destructive, just negative. You know, like just meh. And just be conscious of how you're sitting right now. No one in the room is like really excited. We're all and allow your body just to hunch. Traffic. And then the word I'd like you to think of is, it's a sophisticated word. It's like, meh. Or otherwise, some of my friends will go, whatever. Okay, so just on 3, yeah, like mine is like, seriously. So let's just do meh. Can you do meh? Meh. Okay, on 3, 1, 2, 3. When I say 3, just slouch down and go meh. Can we do that with me? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Meh. Okay, for a moment, how does that feel? How's the energy in the room right now? delightful. Right, now I want you to do this. I'd like you to change your physical body. I'd like to make sure that both feet are on the ground. Sit comfortably. If you can, I'd like you to get to the edge of your seat as if you're about to jump off it. Okay? Your back not touching the chair. Your head, your head and your heart are telling your body, your head and your heart are telling your physical body, I am excited. If you want to, you can already feel like, sure, your toes are like tingling. Hey? You want to bounce. You want to, this is exciting. Okay? Okay, very quick question. What does the energy in the room feel like right now? Can you feel a shift? Can you feel a change? Okay, we're not even there yet. We're just switching on. We're not even at peak yet. But here's the second question I want to ask. The first question was about moment. The second question is about body. What does it take for you to change your state? It doesn't require thinking, although thinking starts it. It doesn't require feeling, although feeling anchors it. So if I don't think my way forward, I ain't going nowhere. If I don't engage with feeling, I can't anchor it. But the gift I want to give you, the second gift, is activation comes from body. Now, you can sit back if you want to, but if you're welcome to stay in this state. This is an exciting state. Do you remember a moment ago I asked you about the ability to get into that feeling? Was it difficult? No. Was it something I forced on you or you chose? You chose. Second part of this, was it real? We went to a place in a memory and I allowed you to feel something. Was it realistic? Was it authentic and real to you? Yes or no? Yes. So some of us are not decided yet. Thirdly, emotion motion. We steer ourselves cognitively and we anchor ourselves emotionally, but we activate ourselves. I don't know why I'm going to my hips, but it's really true. We activate ourselves physically, physiologically. So the most powerful thing you can do in the next 60 days is to do what? Sorry? Act. Add more to that. Change the way you act. Change, what did you say?
Change your state.
Change your state. That's the key. Now, the science behind changing your state, this is where I want to get to. If you want the next 60 days to feel and look differently, I want to remind you today that you need to feel physically differently. So my question to you is, when you find yourself in that compressed moment, that moment first has a feeling, and you convince yourself of that moment in your thinking. And then we get stuck there. We get stuck there because 100 years ago, if you told me that I would be talking on a box and I'd be running my life digitally, I would have been called a lunatic. It's like, dude, you're living on the moon. That's impossible. Come back to Earth. But how much of our world is actually just thoughts? How much of what we choose to accept, what we choose to believe, is just conditioned thinking? So today, you have some wild ideas, and there are people around you, family and friends and colleagues, and you probably feel like they think you are a fool. It's like, oh, don't be stupid, that's a crazy idea. That's a crazy idea. There's some business opportunities you're facing, and there's that hesitation, should I, shouldn't I? Perhaps it's too late. Like this morning, there's people who were coming to this event, but because they were a little bit late, they felt, oh, it's too late. I'll just back off. I'm going to probably look like a fool. I'm going to interrupt the meeting. I'm going to miss out. Now, my question here, quickly, is it the third or fourth question? Third question. If you come into the room, let's just say we'll stick with this idea. We arrive at a meeting because I think in the next 60 days, some of us are going to be late. because it's busy. We're going to miss some targets. I've missed a few things this week. It's like, I know it's on my Asana. It just wasn't current. And we're going to drop the ball at least once a day in the next 60 days. The question or the opportunity is, how will I respond? So here's what I want you to see is, if I were to speak to the people who didn't arrive, and I should be talking to you guys, but you guys chose to get here, even if you chose to get up earlier so you can get in front of the traffic, or you chose to stick it through where if you were in the traffic, or you just chose to arrive even if you got here late because that's the kind of guy you are, just you show up. You made those choices. But there's some people who are not. They're empty chairs. And why are they not here? Could I suggest perhaps it's because they don't want to look like a fool? Why would you not come to an event like this? Could it be because they don't want to interrupt? Could it be because they feel like they've already lost out? Are those valid? Okay. So let me ask you a quick question. How do you feel right now? In your body right now, how do you feel? How's the energy? Are we high? Are we low? How are you feeling? Low?
Medium. You don't think it's an urgent, important problem?
Wait, I'm going somewhere. This is interesting. I get with you. I understand what you're saying, but listen, just engage with me for a moment. Why do we, who showed up, who pitched up, who are the 1% in this room now, feel something of the 99% just because we're talking about it? Just 5 minutes ago, you were on the edge of your seat, you were excited, you were smiling, you're like, this is cool. And because of our conversation, because of where our thinking, where our thoughts have taken us, and I've pulled you into thinking about those who have not arrived, you have identified with them, and you are commiserating with them, and you even almost feel like them. Yes? Now, did I force you to feel that way? Did I push you to feel that way? I did speak. I asked some questions. So I allowed your mind to take you into a space. I distracted you from a moment. Because a moment ago, you were excited, yes? Yeah. A moment ago, you were on the edge of your seat. Wow, okay, next 60 days, yes. And now you don't feel like that. What happened? We allowed our state to change. How did that happen? Fourth question, what are you focused on? What are you focused on? Can you see how quickly, when my focus shifts, it's like I get pulled in a moment to that space, that place, and that state. And it wasn't a big deal. It was just in a moment I allowed my focus to shift. I took our conversation away from us who are achieving, who have achieved, who are credible and valuable, and I shifted our conversation, our narrative, our thinking, and most of you shifted your physical feeling back into a comfortable sit. Some of us are still on the edge. And the more relaxed you are, the more disengaged you are, the more, it's not negative, it's just the more reactive, not responsive you are, the easier it is to lose focus. And as your focus shifts, so does your energy follow. And energy is everything. And in a moment, guys, 5 minutes, it wasn't even 5 minutes, and the energy of the room, the state of the room dropped to the lowest common denominator.
It's happening in our country at the moment.
Exactly.
Government distracts, they do something, and the whole energy goes.
Okay, for the camera, I don't know if you heard that. That's exactly what Pete said. That's what's happening in our country and the continent and the world. Governments distract intentionally and unintentionally, mostly intentionally. Government distracts, governance distracts, forces at play distract, and our focus shifts. And this is what I want you to hear, is that you lose for a moment, just a moment, you lose sight of yourself. For a moment, you're out of focus, excuse me, and you lose sight of who you are, what you're good at, and what you're capable of. And you change your state, or you allow your state to be changed. So here's the thing. Was it difficult to go there? Was it difficult for me to help you find a peak state? And that wasn't even a peak state. That was just a happy state or a bliss state. What I normally do is I'd get you standing up. Actually do that. Quickly just stand up. And those who like the happy clappy are about to cringe. I'm not going to go crazy. What I should do is turn my music on. The best way you can change your state is to change your physiology. That's why people who go to exercise or gym or even just go for a walk or a run, they get addicted to it because of the endorphins, because of the chemicals, the hormones that are released after the physical activity. They leave a happy state. I won't get into the science of it, but really adrenaline is at play, serotonin, the hormone in your gut that makes you feel happy and safe, that's at play, and then the endorphins, the happy emotion, the happy hormone. And the simplest way is just to move your body. And you'll see big, exciting guys, they'll actually just do this. Just do this with me. Don't get too excited. I don't want to embarrass you. Just hop. And if you can, that's fine. Can you do that without lifting your toes? Okay. So you find a place or a state that's good for you. Here's if you want to change, if you want to raise your state, the first place you can do it is not here, not the thinking. The second is not here, the feeling. That's where you anchor it. The first place to activate and engage a change of state. When you find yourself having shifted focus, some negative rubbish has stolen your focus, and you feel the energy drop, the first thing you do is you stand up. Second thing you do, and it can be as simple as, is there a lift in the building? Question, is there a lift in the building? So you go into the lift, the door closes, and you just go, I'm changing my state. And you just take control of that moment again. Now, sit down on the front edge of your chair. Sit down on the front edge of your chair. How can you do what you've just done in your chair? So I did this. I should do something more crazy, but I was just doing this. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, I turned my palms open to the sky, open to the heavens. I say, universe, give me energy. And I'm raising my arms, so I'm engaging my arms, and I'm bouncing on my legs. I'm doing this. I'm going, bring it on. Just raising my vibration. Now, how can you do that in your chair?
Bounce your chair.
Eyebrows.
Good. It's unqualified, but I heard it said that there's about 80% of your muscles in your body are in your face. So move those eyebrows, baby. Question, sincere question. How can you do this seated in your chair?
Sitting, jumping jack.
Good, good. Shoulders, good. Anyone else?
You can rock your chair.
You can rock your chair. Are you engaging your legs? Look at Ndemiso. He's like, hey man, I'm bouncing. This is my question. Can you change your physical state seated in a chair? Yes, you can. Do you need the space to do a bounce? No, you don't. Do you need the space and the energy of 1,000 people in the room and rah-rah music and champion and I've got the power, boom, boom, boom. Do you need that? No. You can do it seated in your chair. What I want you to hear me say is that you can make the state change. Yes?
Can I add to this?
Please.
So there's a lady called Amy Cuddy, C-U-D-D-Y. Amy is a social scientist professor at the Harvard Business School, and her book called Presence is exactly about the new notion that your body can determine how you think and feel. And she gives you 2 exercises to do. It's called power posing, and it looks like this. So
He's stealing my notes, by the way.
so
Keep going. Keep going.
Power posing, if you do this 2 minutes every morning in front of a mirror, your physiology changes and your thinking changes. And then the other one, before you get out of bed, you know how you do an angel star on a snow on a beach? Do that in your bed. So stretch yourself out for 30 seconds before you get up in the morning. I promise you, it makes a world of difference. It is a fascinating read. And it's particularly aimed, her books are aimed at improving your ability to be functional and your confidence and things. But a really, really good read. If you don't want to read the book, she has a 40-minute TED Talk. It's the second most watched TED Talk ever.
What's it again?
Amy Cuddy, Amycuddy. It's brilliant. It's fascinating
So
stuff.
it's just Amy Cuddy.
That's the Wonder Woman. The Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that as well? Understanding, well, I'm not going to put myself in front of the camera. No. Understanding that music drives us. We are beings that is influenced by sound, sight, and other senses. For me, what works is metal music, trance music. I can be how depro, how nonchalant. If I listen to something that takes me back to that point where I can just let loose, even if it's just one song, that changes me immediately. You know, the days when I feel like, oh, I've lost sight, this client is killing me, I put on my headphones, I listen to Metallica, Rammstein, something that for that second, it allows you firstly to disengage, gain your focus.
Yep.
And from there on, that experience takes me to my edge, where I physically and emotionally wouldn't have been able to do it without any other motivation. He's the distraction that took us to the negative space. Sometimes we are our own distraction that can't bring us back. And that one song would take you there.
Yeah.
So I used to have that one song on like a speed click playlist, only one.
On your phone? On your phone?
So you're also stealing my notes, because that's where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to go next, and after that, that's where I wanted to go. So this is beautiful. So in your seat, because some of us are conscious of what people think about us. That's the truth. The real reason why people didn't choose to come through and be late is not because they don't want to look like a fool and get late, or come in late, or they feel like they lost out. If you ask that question, who's been in a coaching session with me, and it's like, okay, so why is that important for you? You might not get here on time. Why is that important for you? No, I don't want to interrupt the room. Why is that important for you? No, I don't want to look like a fool. Why is that important for you? Oh, actually, if you follow your stress or strain, you'll find your fear. And actually, they don't show up because they're afraid. Now, you've worked through that fear because there's something more valuable for you in this meeting, in what's about to follow in the boardroom session. So you could have been somewhere else, but you choose not to because you've already made that choice. It's not easier, it's just more clear, okay, because you have the focus. And here's my point. In that moment of excitement sitting on your chair, was there anyone who almost said something, or felt like saying something, or even if they had a moment, if there was enough of us in the room and I was playing the music, you might have even shouted something, or have any of you caught yourself in a happy state in the shower or bathroom singing to yourself? Oh no, none of you. If I were, I know, it's just me. Or perhaps even this morning you were frustrated because of the traffic, but you lost focus of the traffic, and if someone driving next to you were looking in your car, they would have seen this person belting out and singing in their own version of that song on the radio or your player.
But a good song does, that's what happens.
Here's what happens. We activate physically our energy, and the emotion anchors it, and spontaneously we use sound. We use sound. Our physical body utters out a sound. What is that sound? Energy. And in a bliss state or a happy state, here's the insight. This is like question 5, I think it is. We can use, or how are you using sound to anchor your peak state? Now, the first way to do it, well, let me help you. What did you call it? Crappy state, huh? That, so get into your meh, look back into your chair, hunch your shoulders, all your muscles, your lungs are compressed. You can even growl at me, meh, and then just say the word no. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
No.
One more time. 1, 2, 3. No. How's that feel?
Terrible.
Yeah, like, come on. Okay, front of your chair, open up your chest, activate your shoulders, nice posture, on your toes, not on your heels, get off your heels, body on your toes, okay? And on 3, I want you to say the word yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Wow. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Okay, did you notice in their hearts, did you notice the volume difference, the difference in volume from the no and the yes?
Yes.
Did you notice that difference? Did I ask you for that difference?
No.
Did you notice the sensation, the physical experience between, the difference between the no and that yes? Did you notice the difference? What changed? Did I force that change? What changed? What was the change? What took us from one state to another state, which is a completely different experience?
Energy.
Thank you. The major shift, the big difference between one moment and the next moment was your physiology. And I didn't even ask you to stand up. Imagine if I ask you to stand up. No, I won't. It's okay. And we do, and I used to, there's that guy, Mike Lipkin, I think his surname was. The yes, 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 and for years and years, I'm like, yes, 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 no, 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 no. Until I'm starting to understand, it's about state. It's about energy. It's not about the yes and how silly I look. The fact that I didn't want to do the yes, yes, yes was my fear, my state, my insecurity, my emotional issue. Actually, the yes is just choosing a word that unlocks a higher vibration, helps me activate my physiology and my cognitive, my thinking, so that I can anchor the energy, the emotion that I want to act in. Because the last 60 days of this year can be your best. They honestly, sincerely, authentically, like sacred true self, they can still be your best. But only if you consciously choose that. So here's the question. What's changed in this universe between the day we talked about a box and this day when I've got this box in my pocket? What's changed?
Was it conscious?
Has anything really changed? The way we package things has changed. So the way we have access to technologies, tactics, and tools has vastly changed. But in this universe, if you take our history as a drop in the ocean, has anything really changed? No. They have learned that in the creation of the human body, so just beyond honeymoon, sorry, he got it. In the creation of the human body, the sign of life is visible in you as a human being, get this, before your brain is formed. What is the first primary organ that's fashioned and shaped in the womb? Your heartbeat. There is science. So they have if your EEG and the ECG, there is science that proves there is sign of life. There is vibration and energy. Your life spark is before your brain is formed. And the first organ that is shaped is your heart. It is therefore plausible to deduce that your heart has intelligence. That your life spark, your sacred self, your true soul resides in your heart, not your mind or your body. Your heart is formed, Your brain is started and your body is formed and your brain grows and grows and grows and grows. But your sense of intelligence, your soul, your life spark, perhaps it resides in your heart. That's why I like this idea. It's head, heart, hands, but actually how I feel about what I think about what I need to do next. I'll say it again. How I feel about what I think about what I need to do next. That will determine the next 60 days. So you can activate things like breathing and body and posture. You can activate your S state. You can choose a peak state by activating your physical body, which empowers you to shift your focus, what you think on. And when you're activated physiologically and you're engaged, focus cognitively, you can choose to anchor that moment in the emotional state that you want to play out. So let me land my conversation by asking a question. May I ask you a question? In 60 days, when you look back at the end of this year, what will it look like if this year landed, if it ended at, wow, that's next level. That's significant, successful. That was a year worthwhile. So right now, on a piece of paper, in your speaker's notes, write down just a short description. Perhaps it's a word, it's a phrase. If this year was to land and you look back and you go, wow, this has been a successful year. It's like you've gone to the next level. What would that look like? Or another way to say that, if this was next level now, so it's now October, push through November, we get together for a less formal but still structured social chat in December, and it's like, this is next level now. And I look back and I go, wow, that was a tough year, but it was a good year. What does now look like? I'll give you another minute just to capture a thought there. What does now look like? Perhaps a phrase. Maybe it's in your personal life somewhere. Perhaps it's in your professional life somewhere. Perhaps it's something about your business as you're leading and navigating, guiding your business. Next question. As you find yourself thinking of next level now, and you're looking, you've got 60 days to do something about it, what would you transform between this day and that? So as we gear up and we're willing to change our energy and our focus and our commitment and our connect, what would you change between this day? What would I transform in the next 60 days? So perhaps it's something you want to change at home. Perhaps it's something that you've been thinking about for a while, but it's personal. Perhaps it's food that you eat. Perhaps it's your wake-up time. Perhaps it's the number of times you've been to a gym in the last year, or if you know anybody called Jim. Perhaps it's something in your profession, your professional mastery, the way that you practice the industry that you're in. Perhaps it's something that you know that you've been meaning to do. It's in your plan of action to talk about just now, but you haven't really done it yet. Something about your business. What will you be willing to transform? If you've got more thoughts, maybe just write a word or a phrase down so you can anchor that thought. I want to go to the next question. So question 1 was, what is next level now look like? Question 2 is, what would I be willing to transform? Just write those words, capture that thought. You can go back to it later. Question 3 is, what's holding me back? Why the hesitation? What's preventing me from next level now? What have I allowed? What have I condoned? What have I given permission to in my world that's allowed me to settle for less than, allowed me to lose my focus? What's been holding me back from next level now? Just pushed for time, so make sure you've got the question written down because you can come back to the question. So the question is, what's holding me back? And just capture a thought if you have to, because I want to go to the second last question. And I want you to think of that. We talked about people who chose not to arrive, and perhaps there's a reason they chose not to. And there are spaces and places, there are moments in your world right now where you have chosen not to arrive. You have a dream and a vision for next level now. You have goals, you have plans of action, but there's still, can I say, there's rooms in your house of your story, or there's spaces and places, there's moments in your story now where you chose not to arrive. The question is, what's freaking you out? What are you afraid of? In that moment, why did you choose not to arrive? What's that fear, that concern? What's that thought that freaks you out the most? Perhaps in your personal life, there's this idea that visits every now and then, and it just freaks you out. It's like, man, and actually you're afraid of that, or it's hesitation, or it just that you get to that space of freeze or fright, or you want to flight, you want to run away. Perhaps in your professional space, there's that idea that you lack the confidence, so you don't push through with it. You're capable, but you haven't practiced enough, so you don't have the confidence. So you're hesitating. It's just that idea. Every time you get close to that idea, it freaks you out, and your focus shifts, and you drop, and you lose your state. Perhaps it's something in your business that you know you've been meaning to, that you know, but you just haven't done it. What's that idea that freaks you out? And I've totally run out of time, but I want to drop one last idea. Can I do that? So I've been reminded of this last 2 weeks. Again, like Irene, like you mentioned, we know this stuff, but we forget it. I mean, I teach and train, and I can coach this stuff, and even I forget it. So it's been good to be reminded, and the opportunity to prepare for this talk was an even better reminder of there is a moment when you choose whether you succeed or fail. There's a moment. In that moment, you get to choose what state you will play. There's a moment you get to choose whether you pitch up or not. You might be in the room, but you haven't shown up. And how do you choose? How do you go from meh to yes, I owned that? Now here's what I've learned. I've been reminded that most of us, if I were to ask you what's easier, is it easier to think of and celebrate and be reminded of the stuff that you've done and you've succeeded, or all the stuff that you haven't? So if I have to ask you, are you which kind of person? Are you the kind of person that says, oh, if only, I don't have enough, oh, I might lose out, I wish I had? Or are you the kind of person, thankfully, I'm so glad I did, look what I've got, it's about to get better? Which kind of person are you? Most of us, if we're honest, we're the first, not the latter. We're the person going, oh, if only, I'm about to lose out. And here's the gem. That is the moment. In the next 60 days, when you find yourself looking at a task or a priority, and you have an opportunity to choose how will you end this year, because it can still be your best year yet. In that moment where you compress time, you can leverage, you can elevate what you're about to do next. And there's two aspects to it. The second is this stuff that we've been talking about. The 3 ways. First, you activate your, somebody was listening, I hope, your physiology. Once your physiology is shifted, you activate your thoughts, how you focus. Once your focus is aligned, then you engage and you anchor your feeling. That's the second. Here's the first thing you can do in your moment. So I want to leave you with. In that moment, you can choose death or life. You can choose pain, commisery, destruction, or you can choose gratitude and grace. But you can't choose both. So most people don't have that second part. They don't know that you can activate your physiology, that you can refocus your thinking and your mind, and you can anchor your emotion, and you can choose a peak state. They don't know that. But most people also don't know that you can choose to be ungrateful, to be pessimistic, to be trapped in despair. Or in a moment, you can look for gratitude and grace. You can start with, I am grateful for. It's like that person who arrives in the room and they say the glass is half full or half empty. And I don't know, in the next 60 days, what is yours? Is your glass half full or half empty? What is yours? Are you going to be half empty? Oh, woe is me, I lost out, I'm so scared, I'm fearful, I don't. Meh. And everything you do is in the state of no. Or will you choose to change your focus and be a half full? Is the next 60 days half full? Full of opportunity, full of what's possible, full of moments where you can choose to change your state. And you can still end this year on an epic next level. Is that good?
Yeah, very good.
Cool. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
I don't have a question. I have how can I say, something to inspire you. The small little box we can use for good or bad, correct? That box allows us to utilize technology we've never had before. And if we think of what Robin
You mean
has
this
said,
box?
that box.
Yes.
If we think of what Robin has said, who's the one that would motivate you the most? Yourself. If you record all your greatest achievements, I make a note of it. When you're driving, listen to yourself motivating on your achievements. Every single day, you have a positive point to start off from, whether it's either brushing your teeth or driving in traffic or something. That's how, with the last board meeting, I shared that with our group in terms of having that gold star as a reward. And when that gold star, if we don't see the gold star, if we don't actively choose to be living in a positive state, we tend to slump down and break ourselves down. And that is one piece technology has aided ourselves in that we can use every day as a simple tool.
Thanks, Terence. Cool. Any other questions? Any, like, legitimately? I trust that was helpful, inspiring. I was actually at a, thank you, I was at an event last night, speaking at a Commensa event, and I found myself just reminded that, you know what, we're so busy working on our business that we forget the we. I get so busy working on my business that I forget I am working on my business. And you're about to go get stuck into your conversations in your different rooms. You're going to talk business. But for this this is the last of this quarter, what's the first thing? I'm starting to speak again, I must stop. What's the first thing they do after they've closed the doors in an aeroplane? You're about to take off. They do the same. Pray. Flykalula.com, do you? No, the first thing they do, they say, in case of an emergency, oxygen masks will fall from the sky. And they say, put your mask on first before you help people around you, even children. And we forget that. We forget to put our own mask on first. So that's why I wanted to share that with you. Cool. This quarter ends in January for me. Not because I'm going to work through the holidays, but that's it. You've got to think that through. If you end just before the line, you end just before the line. So I'm ending over the line. But here's what I want you to take, and then I'm not going to talk anymore. The energy you choose to focus on is the energy you get to play with. If you choose to play down, that's the energy you get to play with. Your next 60 days, that's what you're investing. So if you back off, that's the most powerful thing you've done all year, is to say, stay with those targets, change our energy. Most people will back off on their target and bring their business down to their current state of energy. So I take that thought. Let me not speak anymore. Go and spend some time. May I suggest facilitators? That's a great conversation to have in your boardroom. Okay. There's your rooms. They're the same as last time.